Hello folks, this is Naeem Aslam, Chief Market Analyst at AvaTrade. Welcome to our fundamental analysis video. Let's begin by looking at the economic numbers. The French business confidence number dropped to a record low. This has profoundly impacted the European futures today and of course the European markets. We are seeing that downward move once again. Now, when we look at economic numbers, this is only a starter that we are being served by this particular data, because the main course and dessert, both of them are still due, and they are going to continue have an adverse influence on the general sentiment among investors when it comes to trading. But the two numbers which are profoundly important today are, firstly, it is the Bank of England's monetary policy rate decision. Now remember, the bank has already cut the interest rate twice in its emergency meetings. Now it is currently sitting at 0.1%. So we do not expect the narrative to change enormously with respect to the interest rate cut. But remember, the biggest surprise only happens, and it really jolts the market, when there is a surprise element. When the bank acts out of the blue and something new is announced. Something unexpected is announced. Meaning, if the Bank of England is still eyeing the Federal Reserve's interest rate, which is currently sitting at 0%, and Bank of England's interest rate at 0.1%, then we could see a massive reaction in the markets. Remember, sterling is sitting at 1.18 against the dollar, and we have seen this enormous surge in sterling against the dollar since it dropped to the level of 1.14. But if the Bank of England, by any measure, surprises the element and comes out with something which isn't really expected, expect sterling to roll over once again. And of course, it is going to influence the FTSE index as well, which surged more than 4% yesterday. It outperformed all the other European indices in terms of its gain. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that. When it comes to fiscal policies, that 2 trillion worth of fiscal aid package, which we've been talking about in the last few weeks from the US, passed from the Senate. Now it is on its way to House of Representatives. It is likely that it will pass from that as well. But what really concerns me with respect to this is that the Dow Jones surged over 2%, the Nasdaq didn't. And the Nasdaq is the most resilient index when we start comparing the three US indices. Back in the commodity market, when we are speaking of gold, this is very important. The price is in battle with a 50-day moving average on a daily time frame, and at the same time, the RSI, the relative strength index, is in its downward trajectory. Now, if you are looking for that upward move, which can certainly happen later today when the unemployment claims are announced, see the momentum picking up from the RSI side. The RSI should break that downward trend line, and the price should clearly stay above the 50-day moving average. Currently, it is trading above both the 100 and the 200-day moving averages on a daily time frame. Finally, speaking of Bitcoin, the consolidation continues between 6,300, goes all the way to 6,900 or 800 depending on an exchange. But we still haven't seen the move above the 7,000 mark. And as long as we don't see that, I think that this consolidation is really a big threat to this another downward move for the Bitcoin price. That's all for today. See you guys tomorrow.